Alright, here we go. The long spoiler talk. No Bio-Lizard, by the way. Yep, there's no Bio-Lizard in this movie. I was kind of surprised by that, but also I wasn't, because let's be honest there, in Sonic Adventure 2, outside of one newspaper, the Bio-Lizard kind of comes out of nowhere. And also, the Bio-Lizard doesn't really make sense, because in this movie, at least the way that they are portraying it, Maria did not have a disease that needed to be cured, so Gerald did not create the Bio-Lizard and then Shadow in order to cure Maria. Nope, Shadow came from a meteorite, which I think is them potentially like having the ability in the future to do the Black Doom storyline if they want to. And that's what I meant when I said like they are kind of future-proofing and they are also taking stuff from the future, because like I said, Shadow wasn't supposed to be a character after Sonic Adventure 2. He was supposed to be a one and done, and then he wasn't a one and done. But let's talk about spoilers in order. So this movie starts off on Prison Island. We have two guards basically watching over Shadow. They have been, well, at least Shadow has been here for 50 years, so they keep the 50-year storyline, and they are basically watching him. However, then they get hacked by an Eggman logo, and Shadow wakes up, takes everyone out, and escapes Prison Island. Meanwhile, with Sonic, they are going for a race, which was a decoy, because they're actually celebrating his birthday, which is basically his birthday, but instead of being born, it was when he arrived on Earth. Which is great. Also, to anyone wondering, this does take place in 2024. They do make a point to say that. So as they are celebrating that, Shadow arrives in Tokyo. And he's like, wow, I've been asleep for 50 years. And then Gun shows up. And then we cut back to Team Sonic. And they're like, this is a great day. I hope nothing is going to ruin today. And then a helicopter comes down. Jessica Jones walks out. And she takes Team Sonic, which Knuckles hates. Like, who would climb up there with that name? And Sonic is like, perfect, I love it, absolutely perfect. And Jessica Jones basically like, look, we need your help in Tokyo. So they go over to Tokyo, they jump out of the helicopter. Not really SA2 style, but kind of SA2 style. So there are references here and there to the actual games, which I like. And then they meet Shadow the Hedgehog, who then promptly takes everyone out, gets on a bike, grabs one of Gun's, well, gun, and drives off. Sonic then goes after him, and then Shadow tries to shoot him with the gun, which, hey, that gets me giddy, dude. Look, that was my first ever Sonic game that I played. Was Shadow the Hedgehog back in the game that released 2005 on the PlayStation 2. That was my first ever Sonic game that I played. So seeing him shoot with a gun on a motorcycle, hey, that's it. You've already earned yourself a 10 out of 10. Like, I knew from the trailer and footage that he was gonna ride the motorcycle. I didn't know he was also gonna shoot the plasma gun. And he shot the plasma gun. Yes! But he eventually takes out Sonic, cuffs him, and escapes. So Sonic is like, look, we need some answers. So they meet up at the Chow Garden, which is like, Chow Garden! I heard a couple of people as well, like adults, being like, they were like, yes! They had a good time as well. They knew about the Chow Garden. Yes! But basically, then the kid comes up and is like, are you Pikachu? And then Knuckles goes, Pika Pika, which, you know, makes my life complete. At that point, I'm done. Alright, that's it. That's all I need. Knuckles go Pika Pika. Actually appear in the movie. But then we have Commander Walters, who kind of is like the commander from Gun from the Shadow the Hedgehog game, who came back in the Sonic X Shadow Generations Dark Beginnings. And I did like they kind of tied that together. Not perfectly. Obviously, he doesn't have two different colored eyes. And he wasn't a child who was a friend with Maria. It wasn't like that. It was just he was involved with things. And I like that. To me, that was a reference, even if it wasn't intentional. But he basically was like, alright, so a meteorite crashed down to Earth. And I was like, Venom? But they found Shadow in the meteorite. And they wanted to use his powers because, of course, that is how stories always go. They wanted to use his powers. However, that didn't really work out. And the project was shelved. And the boss of the project, Gerald Robotnik, was arrested. And that's it. Afterwards, Eggman's drones attack. And Commander Walters dies, which I don't really know if I like that, because also in my head, for the whole connection to the Gun Commander from the Shadow the Hedgehog game, I would have liked to see them interact with each other and maybe reconcile. But hey, he dies. But before he dies, he gives Sonic one of the key cards for something special, a bit of a cannon called Eclipse. So Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles escape. Gun comes in, and Jessica Jones like, I knew I shouldn't have trusted them. But then Team Sonic goes after the person on the motorcycle who saved them earlier because they kind of want some answers. They get there, and he takes off his helmet, and then Knuckles is like, it's the goat milker. But it's Stone, and he basically explains this was not Eggman's doing, okay? I know it looks that way, but it wasn't Eggman's doing. So let's go inside the crab. So they go inside the Krusty Krab, and they see Eggman there playing with his fat belly. And then Stone tells Eggman that his drones were used. And then Eggman is like, oh, but by who? So he goes, triangulates the location, and now he needs to suit up again and team up with Sonic. So he actually gets his outfit from Sonic 2, which I like how damaged it still is and kind of smells a bit of Chaos Emerald. So he joins, they go over there. However, before that, Shadow was already there, and he reminisces about the place, about Maria. We get some cute-looking flashbacks. I very much like the storyline of Shadow and Maria. I love the flashback that we get with Maria. It is great. Like, the first interaction, Shadow is in this thing, and he's just, like, frowning all the time. So Maria pulls out a Sharpie and then draws like a face. And then they form a connection, and then Shadow skates her across the base and all that stuff. Now, the main thing that they changed here is the fact that this is not Space Colony Arc. It seems like the Space Colony Arc just doesn't exist, because later on in the movie, we get like the space station, and it is just called the Eclipse Cannon, not the Space Colony Arc. So Shadow was actually raised on Earth. A change, but to be honest, I don't really mind it. It doesn't really matter where he was raised. It's about the bond that he shares with Maria. Whether it's on Earth or on the Space Colony Arc, it doesn't matter. But I love how they introduced that. And then Shadow walks further in the destroyed base, and then he meets up with Gerald Robotnik, who is apparently alive. So Team Sonic and Team Eggman, Team Sonic Man, Team Egg Sonic, I don't know. They arrive, and they go inside, and then Eggman is like, alright, me and Stone are gonna team up and go right. Tails and Knuckles can go left, and Sonic will take the middle. Sonic is like, absolutely not. Knuckles, you take the middle. Tails, you team up with Stone and take the left, and I'm going right with Eggman. It's like, talk about trust issues. Well, it's only like you tried to kill me twice or anything, huh? And then also, Knuckles is afraid of ghosts, because there's no such thing as a friendly ghost. Doesn't matter if his name is Casper. There's no friendly ghost. But while they are now split up, Shadow comes in and attacks them all. Takes them all hostage, because Sonic kind of learns about the backstory for Shadow. He kind of gets where Shadow's coming from. In a way, he doesn't know the full thing. He doesn't know how Maria died. It's just like, wow, look at this destroyed place. Look at this picture with Maria. It's just like, wow, Shadow's life was just nothing. And I love the parallels between Shadow and Sonic, where Sonic came to Earth and he had a happy life. And then Shadow came to Earth and he did not. Everything was just ruined. And the one person that he liked, Maria, got killed in front of him. Not by a bullet. And that is what I said in the review, that there was something that I jokingly disliked. Yeah, Maria doesn't get shot. There's a guy who has a gun, and he points it at Maria, and right as he is about to pull the trigger, Commander Walters, when he was young, pushes the dude away, so he shoots something that explodes, and that kills Maria, sadly enough. So we don't get the child being shot by a gun from gun. And you know what? I don't really care as long as she's dead. That's all that I care about. Because that's part of the storyline. We can't have her alive. But I know people are going to be a bit sad because now they can't really cheer. So Eggman eventually is like, Sonic, where did you go? And then he enters a room. And then he finds his babies. His eggs from his sack. And then Gerald shows up. And they talk a bit. And Eggman doesn't really believe that he is Grandpapa. But he is. So he asks him a couple of questions. And he all gets them all right. And then it's like, Papa, in the saggy flash. And then immediately Eggman teams up with him in order to, well, I guess follow his plan that Eggman doesn't actually know. And if he knew, wouldn't even follow. So Team Sonic is tied up. Sonic learns of Gerald, and also now that Eggman has betrayed him. But the thing is that I expected it to already be a betrayal, but no. Eggman actually wasn't behind any of that. I like the bait and switch that they did. But then afterwards, you know, it's like we're gonna get the other. We need the key card that you have. And then now we're gonna go get the other one. Have fun dying to a black hole. Shadow drops a black hole, teleports out. And right as they are about to be sucked into the black hole, they use a ring to escape outside of the base. And afterwards they use a ring in order to get to the Donut Lord. And now we have to infiltrate the gun base for the second keycard. Because we can't let Team Shadow, I guess, get their hands on it. So we have to get our hands on it. And also, with how the Chow Garner was left, yeah, Gun isn't really too friendly towards Team Sonic anymore. So we need a good plan. And Sonic's plan is to get inside and get the stuff. And then it tells like, nope, there is a force field that blocks it. So we need Tom and Maddie to go inside, and they get these disguises, which are not Rouge. Kristen Ritter is not Rouge the Bat in disguise, okay? That is something that Tails makes. That was another theory that people had. It's not. Rouge ain't in the movie. I'm expecting her to show up in a Shadow solo project. But they need to infiltrate it, so they turn into the sister of Maddie and also the hot guy who turned out to be a gun guy. Basically, we get the return of the wedding people, which might not be good, but I like this sequence overall. I like the way that, I like how she goes full-on black woman when they don't get their way, and then they are allowed in. So they get in, and they use a USB, but the USB doesn't work, and then Tom is like, oh, hey, look at this old trick that I remember. You need to blow on it. And I'm like, dude, it's not a Game Boy Advance cartridge or a DS cartridge, okay? You can't just blow on it and it works. Tails was the same way, but he blows on it, puts it in, and now it works. However, there's another USB drive, so the eggs are already in the basket, which is not good. But earlier in the movie, Eggman and Gerald were gonna infiltrate it, and Shadow was gonna wait outside with the goat milker. So they have infiltrated it. They got these suits that are like camouflage suits. I like how the camouflage works. I also like how they can deflect laser, but they eventually enter the room that they need to, and at that point, Sonic is like, alright, I need to step in. I gotta get in there. So Sonic runs to get in there, but he's not gonna make it. So Tails grabs him and throws him in. And he makes it inside, goes down, and tries to stop the Robotniks. However, at that point, Jessica Jones comes out and has like a thing, like a pad. And she clicks the buttons, and then the Robotniks fall down, and Sonic goes up a little bit. Basically, they get caught, and everything is great. However, then we have a little bit of a problematic thing when Knuckles breaks the pad. So now, yeah, the gravity room is kind of going strong gravity, no gravity. Strong gravity, no gravity. Unlike specific tiles. And I did like that a lot. I thought it was fun. But eventually, Jessica Jones gets the keycard and leaves. So Tom has an idea. He goes after her, and he turns it to Commander Walters. And he's like, give me the keycard. And she's like, fine, I guess, if I have to. But I don't want to do it, but okay, fine. So she gives the keycard. He leaves, and he's like, oh, yay, I did it. He turns off his disguise. He's like, yay, I did it. And then turns his disguise back on. However, as he turns his disguise back on, Shadow appears. And Shadow remembers that Commander Walters was part of the people that killed Maria. Even though it was one guy who was kind of going rogue. So Shadow punches Tom. And what everybody expects to happen kind of happens. Tom, quote-unquote, dies. But not really. Sonic then appears, sees this. Shadow then looks a bit shocked about, like, the reactions. Like, oh, this is just like Maria. What have I done? But then Sonic is like, what have you done? And so Shadow's like, what I had to. And then teleports out. And at this point, Sonic goes on a revenge arc. He just wants to kill Shadow. So when they get outside, Sonic is like, Knuckles, where's the Master Emerald? And Knuckles is like, no, the Master Emerald is not being used for revenge. For anger. Alright? No. But eventually he gives in and he's like, alright, fine. Look, we're supposed to be a team. We're supposed to trust each other. Even though you are breaking the oath of the team. I left it with the most fearsome of warriors. And this is what I meant in my spoiler-free review, where I said that there was kind of like one tie towards the Knuckles show. And that's this. And basically, all you need to do in order to kind of get the beat on it is to watch the Knuckles trailer. Watch the trailer for the Knuckles show. You see the fact that Knuckles wants to whip Wade into shape. And yeah, that's it. Wade is the one who plays hockey with the Master Emerald. Like, okay. But Sonic appears. He takes the Master Emerald. He leaves. And then he goes supersonic and goes after Gerald. However, now that they have both of the keycards, they go inside of the base, activate it, and then the Eclipse Cannon flies into space. And Sonic goes after it. However, because of the alone time that Stone was able to have with Shadow, Shadow kind of let a certain thing slip. So Stone is like, Eggman, sir, please don't do it. There's something off about them. And then Eggman is like, no, they are family, okay? I am canceling you. You are fired. Goodbye. And yeah, basically, Eggman wants to rule the world. And we get then kind of the reveal that Gerald wants to destroy the world. Even though that was kind of already hinted at by Shadow. But yeah, they both want to destroy the world. So as they are like having their quality time at the space station, they notice a yellow thing coming their way. And then they are like, is that Gun? Because how did they react so fast? And why is that thing moving so fast? And it's like, that's not Gun. And then Sonic comes in, grabs Shadow, and just starts fighting with him. And they go back to Earth in the burning place. And I like how the trailer deceived us. Because we see Shadow ready to punch Sonic in like the trailer. But he's actually Super Shadow during that scene in the movie. I love the bait and switch. But he turns Super Shadow. He basically takes the Chaos Energy from Sonic. And then he punches Sonic. They have a Super Sonic versus Super Shadow fight. We don't get the fight aboard the Space Colony Ark. But instead of that, we get Super Sonic versus Super Shadow. And it's great. I mean, that's how powerful Shadow is. Sonic needs the Chaos Emeralds. He needs Super Sonic in order to equal Shadow. Or I guess surpass him. But when Shadow has the Emeralds, now they have this really, really cool fight. So as they are fighting, Gerald reveals the full truth. And he's like, look, I'm going to use this cannon to destroy the Earth. And also, it will destroy the cannon and kill us. So basically, everyone dies. Also, Eggman, I don't care about you. The only one in my family that I ever cared about was Maria. They took her away. So everyone can die. I don't care. Everyone can die. So they are actually turning him into a monster, just like he was in Sonic Adventure 2 before they tried to kind of reverse course. As in, he wasn't a monster, but when Maria died, he became a monster. So at that point, Eggman fights Gerald. And this fight is as silly as it can be. Because of these suits, Gerald gets like a giant head and also like a scorpion stuff, even a scorpion tail. We have Eggman who gets like praying mantis, which I immediately was like, you! Because of if you played the old Sonic games, you know about those enemies. The praying mantis enemies that are always up a hill, and when you go up it, they always attack you, and you always lose rings. Those, but I was like, you! So they have their silly fight, which is absolutely silly. However, Gerald wins that fight, and Eggman is hanging, and then Eggman is like, I want to say one more thing. And then Gerald's like, what? That you love me? And then Eggman's like, no. I mean, I was going to say something way better than that. But now I'm not going to do it because you are acting like this. And I couldn't stop laughing at that. Then Eggman falls. However, he gets saved by Tails. And also, I guess Knuckles is here as well. So Eggman swats Gerald into the energy thing. And instead of having like this painful death, it's just like, bzz, and that's it. He just gets bug zapped. He gets bug zapped. I can't believe it, dude. This movie is perfection incarnate. This movie is actual perfection incarnate. And now they have to kind of stop the space laser from destroying the Earth. Meanwhile, Sonic and Shadow are still fighting each other, and they eventually land on the moon. And when Sonic has the upper hand on Shadow, Shadow is like, do it! Kill me! Sonic is like, no. Because Shadow's superpowers ended before Sonic. But I guess that's because of the fact that Sonic might be a little bit more familiar with the powers because he already used it in the last movie. This is the first time Shadow is using it. So his runs out earlier. Shadow's like, kill me! And Sonic is like, no, I can't do it. Because at the beginning of the movie, Donut Lord told me that we can all make mistakes. But it's what we do after we make a mistake that counts. Alright? So no, I'm not gonna kill you. Because that is not who I am. So then they have a little bit of heart-to-heart. And basically, you know, Sonic is like, look, I kind of understand how you feel. Because when I, right before I came to Earth, my, Longclaw died. And Shadow's like, does the pain ever go away? And Sonic is like, no. But something can take its place though. That's the memory, the love that they had for you. And at that point, Shadow is like, alright, I gotta stop the space colony. No. I gotta stop the Eclipse cannon. I gotta protect the world from Maria. which means that we did not get the actual line from Maria where it's like, Shadow, say, protect the humans. But also, that storyline was technically stupid, because in order for that line to be in the movie and actually work, Shadow needs to have his memory erased. And that whole storyline in itself is kind of dumb. So I think it's a good thing that Shadow comes to the conclusion himself of like, wait, this is not what Maria would have wanted. She would have wanted me to save the Earth. We shouldn't do this. I was hellbent on revenge, but I made a mistake, and I gotta fix it now. So, as you saw in that one TV spot, Sonic and Shadow, they go super again, team up, and go to the space laser in order to stop it. So as they are trying to stop it, Eggman and Tails are trying to redirect the beam. They're trying to move the thing very slowly, because Eggman is the only one who is steering. It's like, a little help would be appreciated. So they come in, help him, they steer it, cut off a part of the moon, which is like, the moon now! But that is technically accurate to the games. I mean, I don't think it's half of the moon. I think it's just like a small piece of the moon. So I don't know if that's really gonna ruin anything from the Earth, but they do cut a little piece off the moon. However, then the space station is going to blow up. So Sonic falls back to Earth because of the fact that now that everything is done, he doesn't have any more power. Just like what he did in technically Sonic Adventure 2. He falls back to Earth, and then Tails goes after him. They have one more ring, which means we need to stock up on those things. But they got one more ring. They need to go over to Sonic in order to save him. So he goes over there, tries to save Sonic, doesn't work. He also goes unconscious. So Knuckles, the muscle man himself, goes over there, grabs the both of them and the ring, and just saves them all. Meanwhile, Shadow teleports. I want to keep calling this thing the Space Colony Ark, but it's not. I'm going to keep calling this thing the Ark, okay? We're just going to do that right now. So, Shadow teleports back to the Ark, and he asks Eggman, alright, if this thing blows, what's going to be happening? And then Eggman's like, oh yeah, it's going to rain down hellfire on Earth. Simple as that. So, Shadow's like, alright, you figure out a way to, you know, do things that you do. I forgot what Eggman's going to do. But Shadow's going to push it away. So Shadow takes off his inhibitor rings, and he pushes the thing away. And then, at that moment, Eggman makes one final message to Stone. He screens himself to Earth, which I guess is a reference to how, you know, Gerald's message was spread across the planet in Sonic Adventure 2. But he's like, my name is Ivor Robotnik, and I have a message for one specific person. Stone, I'm sorry for what I did to you. You are my friend, and I will miss you. This is my final message, unless, you know, I come back again. This is my final message. So, officially telling Stone that he is his friend, and then the Ark explodes. And that's it. Eggman and Shadow are now officially dead. Which, I mean, they can technically reverse course if they want to bring Eggman back, because of the fact that Shadow can teleport. So right before the explosion, Shadow could have gone, grabbed Eggman, and teleported back to Earth. It is entirely possible. But if Jim Carrey never comes back, this is as good as ending as any. So now, the movie is done, and we get revealed that Tom is actually not dead, and he can definitely take a punch. Because Shadow thought that that was the commander that was involved in Maria's death. So I don't think Shadow really held back. So Tom can take a punch. He just has a broken arm. And maybe some broken ribs as well, who's to say. But still, he can take a punch. So to end this movie, they go for one more race. Because the last race was fake because of what happened. So we need a real race. So they go and they race. And that's how the movie ends. And this is such a good movie. This is my favorite of the trilogy. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you, Jeff Fowler, for number 1, loving this franchise. Number 2, giving it your all. And number 3, respecting the fans, because he even did an interview about like the change. I found it finally. Alright, so Deadline asked, the first 2 films were hits, but the journey wasn't always smooth. There was pretty fierce fan pushback, and then a character redesign. 3 films in, how do you reflect upon the story so far? And Jeff Fowler's like, every movie is going to face challenges, and obviously we had some very public ones with the redesign, but all that stuff has just become part of our story. And it's something that I sort of champion. We now have this amazing relationship with our fans. They obviously voiced some opinions, and those opinions were heard and addressed. It's now just become part of this great relationship with them. It's amazing to me that we're here on a 3rd film, and we've made a TV series. I mean, Sonic 2 was made during the pandemic. Sonic 3, we had a writer's strike and an actor strike. we have found a way through. This man loves the fans, and I'm so happy about that. Jeff Fowler is the director that this franchise deserves. He loves this franchise, and also he loves Shadow the Hedgehog because, for anyone who doesn't know, Jeff Fowler was part of the people that made the CGI cutscenes and trailers for Shadow the Hedgehog, the video game, all the way back in 2005. This man loves this franchise, and he loves the fans, and it is so refreshing to hear that, because nowadays, when fans voice their concern, they're called toxic, racist, Nazis, whatever you want to call it. Even though, yes, they exist. I'm not gonna deny that, but not everyone is like that. We just want better stuff. Star Wars is in a bad spot right now, but if you say anything bad about it, you get called any of them things that I just mentioned. And I love how Jeff Fowler just takes the fan criticism, maybe not all of it, but some of it, because there are those fans who are not friendly, and they also are kind of stupid, because there are those fans who want, probably are gonna complain about this movie not perfectly adapting Sonic Adventure 2, and it's like, dude, that would be horrible, because the story of Sonic Adventure 2 wasn't good. But he takes the fans' feedback. He introduced a couple more Sonic characters in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. He deleted the wedding stuff from this movie. He learns from his mistakes. If we get another show, I feel like that show is gonna focus more on the character itself rather than focus on the human character. So yeah, they are making mistakes, but it seems like they are learning from it, and I love that. Also, this movie has 2 credit scenes. Starting off, first of all, before I start anything, I thought these would be flipped. Because the mid-credit scene happened, I needed to go to the toilet throughout this whole movie, but I was able to keep it in. However, when I watched Venom: The Last Dance, during the mid-credit scene, I thought I had enough time for the mid-credits until that scene in order to go to the toilet. I did not. So this time, I stayed for the mid-credit scene, and it was a good idea. Because Sonic ends his race, and he's like in New York State, and he's like, oh, got a little bit too far. And then a portal opens up, Metal Sonic appears, and then Sonic takes him out. And then a lot of Metal Sonics appear. And then a hammer appears. And I was like, it's Amy! And then Amy Rose shows up. So what people, I've heard some negativity before this movie came out, where it's like, oh, I wouldn't like it if they introduced Amy Rose in a mid-credit scene, a post-credit scene. Well, they did. I was expecting Silver the Hedgehog personally, but they did introduce Metal Sonic and Amy Rose. But that's also because I'm looking at future Sonic games, not past Sonic games. Because we've had Sonic 1, Sonic 2, and Sonic 3. We skipped Sonic CD, we skipped Sonic Adventure, and now we are in Sonic Adventure 2, basically. I did not expect them to go backwards to Sonic CD. And also, with the death of Eggman, I was kind of like, maybe they're just not gonna do Metal Sonic, but we get Metal Sonic and Amy Rose, and I was just giddy. And at that point, when that was done and the real credits began, I went over to the toilet. I was at the toilet just letting it all out, and then I was thinking back and I was like, oh my god, we got Amy Rose and Metal Sonic. I am so excited for Sonic 4, which has been announced and is going to be released in 2027. However, afterwards I came back, and then I was basically just in time, because at that point we got the official confirmation of the fact that yes, Shadow the Hedgehog is indeed still alive. But of course he is. You've got to be stupid to think he's dead. But man, I love this movie. I love it so much. I wish there was more of Shadow and more of Maria. I would have liked more of that, but also, just in general, more of Shadow. However, I want to see more of Shadow. Paramount has this really cool opportunity to do some really good stuff with this franchise. I mean, technically, Sonic can be a cinematic universe if they wanted to. They got enough characters in order to do it. They just gotta do it right. If you want to make a Tails show or a Shadow show, do it, but focus the shows on the characters Tails and Shadow. In that sense, I mean, Idris Elba and Keanu Reeves even talked about like a Shadow and Knuckles team up, which, let's be honest here, let's reintroduce Shadow to the world first of all, and then we can have the team up between Shadow and Knuckles. I wouldn't be opposed to that, but I'm so excited for the future. I've also seen people be very negative towards the announcement of Sonic the Hedgehog 4, which was actually announced before the movie came out, because of the fact it's like, no, we should have just gotten a trilogy and leave it at that. And I'm like, no, what do you mean? Look, if they want to continue it on, let them. Like, if we are gonna get 26 Sonic movies, and they're all really good movies, what are you complaining about? This is a really good franchise, and it seems like they are willing to learn, and that's the important part. They made the Knuckles show, now they need to figure out how to do a show better. next time around. How they can allocate the budget better for Shadow and maybe Knuckles, I don't know. But like, how they can allocate the budget better for the CGI characters, because they do cost a lot of money. I mean, this movie cost $122 million according to Wikipedia, which may not be accurate to make. And so far it has made $6.5 million, but also this is the first day it's out. And I really hope that this movie does well. Alright, look, I don't need $1 billion for this movie. If this movie makes half of that, I'll be happy. I'll be able to sleep well, okay? If this movie makes $500 million, I'll be happy. That's all I really need. I feel like even with $300 million, this movie could be a success. But they need to just know how to do the future stuff better. And I'm so excited for the future. This is such a good movie. And I can't wait to own it and watch it again. I really want to watch it again. So, that has basically been my spoiler talk for Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Comment down below your spoilers on this movie. Did you know, what were the things that you did not like about the movie? What did you love about the movie? What would be your score? Are you excited about the future? Would you like to see solo stuff again? Would you like them to give a TV series another shot? I would be willing to give the TV series another shot, because they have shown that they can learn. Because in Sonic 2, people did not like the wedding scene. So in this movie, the humans bow down to the script, outside of obviously Eggman. But they bow down to the script. The script does not need to stop in order for them to have their moment like a wedding. However, I will forgive the wedding because it introduced Gun, which leads to Project Shadow. But that's just me. Also, it is weird that this franchise has just kept going up, because for a lot of like sequels, they are not as good as the original, or especially the third one isn't as good as either of them. This franchise has gone up. I will give them the benefit of the doubt and want them to do another show. I want them to show off how they can do an actual show. I mean, best guess is they're gonna turn these TV series into like animated stuff, which they could do. Who's to say? But if they can do it budgeted with like the CGI animation, I'm all for it. But I would be willing to give them another shot. I am so excited for the future of this franchise. But with that being said, thank you all so very much for watching, and I do hope you guys have enjoyed. And if you did, please like button, subscribe if you're new, if you're not already, turn on notifications, and don't forget to check out my Let's Play channel, which you have seen footage from Shadow Generations, which is live on that channel. You can check that out, but that channel is linked in the description and at the end of the video. And also, since this is one of the last videos that I'm making this year, I would like to say thank you all so very much for all of the support you have shown throughout the year. It has been absolutely amazing. I have big plans for 2025. Sadly enough, none of them are Sonic related, unless they want to secretly release something Sonic related next year, at which point, well, that would be a surprise thing. But overall, you know, thank you all so very much for the support. And also, I know it's a bit early, but Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to each and every last one of you. I'm excited for what I have planned for 2025, and hopefully you guys are as well. I know the editing on this isn't like the best. You don't get all the like heavy editing, but I don't have editors, and I'm also trash at things. So you get what you can give, and that's what you get. But thank you all so very much for the support. I'm excited for 2025, and hopefully you guys will join me for that. And I'm also excited for Sonic the Hedgehog 4 and whatever else they have planned for this universe. I really want a Shadow show. Please give me a Shadow the Hedgehog TV series that is really good with like CGI animation, if it is entirely possible, focused around Shadow and how he meets Rouge the Bear and even Omega. I would love to see that. But anyway, that's been it. Bye!